You wake up already behind, so you try to make up for it. Strong coffee, a harder workout, a cleaner breakfast, more discipline by noon, and yet your waist looks the same. For a lot of people, that doesn't mean they're lazy, and it doesn't even mean they're doing the wrong things. It may mean their stress chemistry never fully came back down from the day before. The body is not only reacting to what you do today, it is also reacting to what your system is still carrying forward. That changes the whole story, because stubborn visceral fat is not always a simple calorie problem, and it is not always a willpower problem. Sometimes it is a rhythm problem. Your cortisol still rises when it should. You need that. But when the drop-off is weak, delayed, or constantly interrupted, your body can keep reading ordinary life like unresolved pressure. That is where Japanese daily structure becomes worth looking at. Not because Japan has some exotic secret, and not because cortisol should ever go to zero, but because traditional Japanese routines, the morning walk in daylight, the evening bath as a hard stop, the cultural discomfort with stimulation right before sleep, are built around contrast. Active when it is time to be active, quieter when it is time to come down. And if that contrast is the real missing piece, then the solution is not to push harder. It is to stop feeding the carryover that keeps the signal going. Cortisol is not the villain because it exists. It becomes a problem when the pattern stops behaving like a pattern. In a healthy rhythm, cortisol is supposed to help you wake up, get oriented, and handle demand. Then, across the day, the signal should gradually taper. Think of it like the lighting in a room. Morning should be bright enough to get you moving. Evening should feel dimmer, softer, quieter. If the dimmer stays too high for too long, the room never fully changes state. That is the issue. For some people, visceral fat may be part of what happens when that contrast gets flattened. Poor sleep, late-night stimulation, irregular meals, and hard training stacked on exhaustion can all push the system the same direction. Not always dramatically, but often enough. And that is why this gets confusing. You can be doing several healthy things and still be sending a mixed message overall. Your workout may be good in isolation. Your coffee may be fine in isolation. Your work ambition may be admirable in isolation. But the body does not read those inputs one by one. It reads the full pattern. That full pattern affects appetite, energy, blood sugar handling, sleep depth, and how on guard your system stays. Research in humans links chronic stress, short sleep, and circadian disruption with higher abdominal fat and worse metabolic regulation. Most of that research is correlational, not causal, and the picture is still being worked out. That does not mean cortisol explains every case. It does mean stress timing may be part of the story far more often than people think. So the real loop is not just high cortisol equals belly fat. It is this: you stay activated too late. Recovery gets weaker. The next day starts from a more strained baseline. Then you lean even harder on stimulation and effort to function. And the same pattern quietly rolls forward again. That carryover is the trap. This is where a lot of smart people get stuck. They respond to a stressed pattern with even more stimulation. More caffeine because sleep was bad. Harder training because progress feels slow. More screen time at night because the brain is too tired to do anything else, but somehow too alert to switch off. Each choice makes sense in the moment. That is what makes it a trap. None of those things are automatically bad. The problem is the order, the timing, and the pileup. A hard session on a rested body is one signal. The same session dropped onto short sleep, late light, and a nervous system that never downshifted is a different signal entirely. So before we get to the reset itself, here is a useful self-check. If your mornings feel like a rescue operation, and your evenings feel tired but strangely wired, carryover may be part of your story. If coffee feels much smoother after daylight, water, and a few quiet minutes of movement, that is another clue. It does not diagnose anything, but it may tell you your problem is not just effort. It may be timing. Try this tonight before anything else. 10 minutes before bed. Put the phone face down and just sit. No agenda. Notice whether your body feels genuinely quieter or still faintly on. That one observation tells you more about your carryover than a week of tracking macros. And once you notice that gap, how alert your body still feels versus how late the hour actually is, generic advice starts to look incomplete. Because the real question is no longer, how do I burn more? The better question is, how do I stop stacking signals that keep the day from ending inside my body? That is where the Japanese routine idea helps. Not as a miracle, as an ordering system. I call it the Shizuka reset. Shizuka means quiet. And the point is simple. Build a sharper contrast between activation and recovery, so the body stops living in the blur between the two. So how do you interrupt that carryover without turning recovery into another stressful project? The Shizuka reset uses 3 signals. The first 2 matter because they separate the day more clearly. The first move is the open-air start. This replaces the common mistake of beginning the day with instant stimulation before your body has oriented itself. The mechanism is simple. Early daylight and gentle movement help anchor circadian timing, which may support a more appropriate cortisol rise early and a cleaner drop later. A good starting point is 10 to 20 minutes outside within the first hour after waking. Walk slowly. No sprinting, no phone in your face, just light, air, and forward motion. What does that prevent downstream? It may reduce the need to keep rescuing your energy all morning with repeated stimulation. Many people notice a small shift within a day or two. Coffee feels less jagged. The morning feels less chaotic. After a week or two, some people notice steadier energy and fewer late-night second winds. This does not melt fat overnight. It supports the rhythm that fat loss depends on. The second move is the thermal off-ramp. This replaces the habit of carrying daytime alertness straight into the night. In Japan, an evening bath is not just hygiene. It is often a transition cue. The mechanism appears to involve parasympathetic activation, muscle relaxation, and a clearer handoff into sleep readiness. Try a warm bath or even a hot foot soak, about 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Keep the room quiet. Keep the lighting low. Do not turn it into scrolling time. What does that prevent downstream? It may reduce the tired but wired pattern that keeps the next day starting from the wrong baseline. The early sign is usually not your waistline. It is easier sleep onset or a slightly calmer body at night. Over 1 to 2 weeks, many people notice more consistent sleep depth, which gives the whole reset a better chance to work. The third move is the quiet gap, and it is the simplest one to explain, but the hardest to actually do. Stop filling the space between your last input and sleep. That is it. No long ritual required. Just 10 minutes where nothing new enters. No messages, no video, no decisions. Sit. Breathe slowly into the lower belly. Let the room be quiet. The mechanism is less about what you do and more about what you stop. The brain needs a few minutes of no new signal to begin releasing the urgency of the day. The first win here comes fast. The body feels less on alert in bed. The slower win, over a week or two, is that evenings stop feeling like a second shift, and that matters, because better nights change the starting point of every morning after. Now, this is the catch. The Shizuka reset is not a cure for every kind of abdominal fat or every cortisol-related symptom. If someone is dealing with sleep apnea, a hormonal disorder, shift work, or ongoing mental health treatment, this routine may still help, but it may not be enough on its own. In those cases, the biology is heavier than a routine alone can solve. Still, for a lot of people, the first useful shift is smaller than they expect. Not, how do I force fat loss? How do I stop sending my body the same unfinished stress signal every day? That is a different question, and often a more honest one. Your body is not refusing to cooperate. It may just be reading the pattern you repeat most often. Change that pattern with enough consistency, and the body may start changing what it has been protecting, conserving, or delaying. Which move of the Shizuka reset feels most missing in your day right now?